And so right after the Migos go outside, that's when Pat and Lil Cam turn to their boss man, and they still inside the bowling alley. And they tell him, they said, give me the tool. I'm going to go handle this outside. And so make sure you watch this whole video, subscribe to the channel. So that's when they come outside, and then you see the distraction play out, Quavo going back and forth, and then Pat goes behind him and tries to swing. Now, what Quavo should have done is right after he ducked and weaved, bobbed and weaved, he should have put Pat in a full Nelson and flipped him. And then they should have had, like, Takeoff should have kicked the blick out of the Cam's hand and the other dude. So, but it wasn't like they were, prepared at that moment right there. The distraction worked, basically. So that's why you got to keep a head on a swivel and know when people trying to distract you or not. Because you know how, especially nowadays in the last like 5-10 years with everybody having phones and everything like that, somebody could come up to you and ask you, can you check the time on your phone? And then they actually is distracting you by making you look at the time, but then again they also setting you up to where you pull your phone out and then they try to snatch it and run off. And then so that's why you have to understand that a lot of things are just distractions. There's so many distractions. The Migos got distracted by the fact that when the people who did this planned and plotted out exactly how it was going to go down, and they said, Cam and Pat was going to come out and do the clean sweep. But the thing is that they were like, okay, but how are we going to distract them to get them to be sitting ducks standing right there in front of the store? Because if it happened inside the building, then it would have been an even worse situation for MobTies, because that's actually in the party. That's inside the party venue. And so it would have been worse if it was inside, but it happened outside the store. And because it happened outside the store, it's less heat on MobTies, because it's like, oh no, they left the party, we had security in the party and they decided they wanted to leave and go outside. And so that's how MobTies, all their people, that's what they've been saying to try to get themselves out the hot water. They were saying that they don't know Cam and Pat, that they're two random strangers who happen to have a getaway driver, and that they just so happened to be at that time and place when the Migos was walking out, and that they were saying that they don't know what they got going on between themselves, between them two. They don't know what's going on. So they're claiming that they were just, Pat and Cam were random strangers that just so happened to be in the area outside. And when the Migos went out, then that's when they had their whole thing going on. And so it's crazy, because it's like a lot of people, they was cool with kicking it with Cam and Pat. They hung out with Cam and Pat for years. They went to the bars, the clubs with him, birthday parties after birthday parties, car shows. They all went and took vacations together and took trips together. And as MobTies, they went to every single MobTies event. They were even at the Duke the Jeweler dice game. Can y'all believe that? These same people that y'all talking about and that people looking at right now is the same ones who was taking all them trips with MobTies, going to the dice games with Boosie, going every time somebody checked in Houston, it was Cam and Pat who had to watch the watchmen, basically. They got to watch and double watch in case they give a dirty look to MobTies. They gonna, try to be the ones who enforce it. They come and clean the streets up. Whenever something happened and they go down, they the ones who lap the block and make sure that nothing is left. And so that's what you're dealing with, man. Y'all got to understand that's exactly what y'all are dealing with. That's the type of people you're dealing with. So at the end of the day, I think that Quavo should have definitely put him in a full Nelson and flipped him over. Because if he would have did that, it might have been a different situation. It could have, if they would have been able to get one of them under control to where they weren't able to intimidate or do anything like that. As soon as that person who once Quavo bobbed and weaved that dude, he should have flipped him. And then it might have been a situation to where it could have made Takeoff do the same thing. And if both of them put him in the full Nelson and flipped him, then it would have been maybe they had a couple more moments to get away and escape out the situation, And who knows? Either way, it's like something was gonna happen anyways. That's why a lot of people that knew that what was gonna happen, they left the party early. You gotta watch and keep close attention to the people who were dipping out right before the argument. As soon as they all went outside, there was a couple people who already took off running down the stairs. They said they already know what's going down here. And some people went out the back stairwell. And so when you really think about it, people knew what was going to go down. As soon as they seen Lil Cam and Pat talking to their boss man, asking for the tool, that's when a lot of people were like, okay, it's over. They going home now. Because once them two, Pat and Cam, go outside and that distraction happens, that gets Quavo like sucked into this whole back and forth thing, that's when they're gonna basically, everything's gonna hit the fan at that point. People gonna be taking off running anyways. So that's why people left early. They knew what they were dealing with. They said, what? This one dude, he turned to his homie, he said, ain't that Cam and Pat from Fifth Ward? And the dude said, yeah. And they said, those guys are straight drillers. So they got the drill guys to come outside. That's the drill man right there. He said, hey, there go the drill man right there. We better get out of here. And so those people, yeah, they made the right move, but they should have warned everybody else too. But it's like they couldn't warn them because the drill men are right there. Pat and Cam might turn on that guy just for alerting all the people at the party that the drill men popped up. Anytime the drill men popped up, you got about 5 minutes before everything goes down. And that's the craziest thing, because when you from Houston, a lot of people, they're like, man, I can't believe this dude DJ Pat did that. He's ruining Fat Pat's name. Fat Pat had that name way before, like 20, 30 years before. So it's like they shouldn't even be calling him DJ Pat or nothing like that. They should just be calling him, Patrick the Third Jones or whatever his name is, And Lil Cam's actually Cameron. So it's like when the people in Houston actually know them, that's when when they seen him and they said that's the drill man, that's when everybody should have been paying attention and dipped. That's why you can't just be lacking. Even if you out and about, you still got to understand that anything could happen, really. And so you have to you got to be able to know, like, okay, you can't trust anybody, and you can't even trust security or the party itself. Like, even if nothing goes down at that bowling alley, but it's still a MobTies party, you know who's going to pop up. At one point, it's going to be some people who are like deep from Fifth Ward or deep from Third Ward that might pop up, and it could be a whole issue. And so anytime there's issues and the drill men show up and the bosses start to leave and you just see a bunch of henchmen around outside, yeah, that's when you got to realize that you got to dip up out of there, unless you know a way where you could put them in the full Nelson and flip them. So that's really the only way. And if you try to do that, they reckless. So you still might end up, that might even be worse, because they not looking to wrestle. They're not looking to fight, nothing like that. So that's, at the end of the day, you just got to understand, like, keep an eye on people and know, okay, are people about to spaz out or not? And if before they spaz out, you see the signs, and right before they spaz out, you already know what you're gonna do. You either gonna be already far away to where they can't spaz out on you no more, or that they just you gonna have to let them spaz out and see where everything goes. But you already gotta have your own plan of what you do in those situations, and that's how you have to move the right way. And so basically, just subscribe to the channel, like this whole video, comment down below, and let me know who you rocking with, where y'all from, and I'm gonna catch you on the next one.